The excavator's bucket hovered inches above the weathered cedar fence when the quiet black landowner stepped into the road and raised one hand. The HOA president laughed and told the crew to keep moving. How could one man stop an entire board armed with notices, signatures, and a removal order? Why did the contractor suddenly lower his eyes when a sheriff's cruiser rolled through the dust? And what was hidden inside the leather folder the owner had carried all morning? Before sunset, the people who had treated 40 acres like stolen ground would learn who had truly crossed the line. Stay to the end, because the sheriff's first sentence changed everything. Kill the engine. Sheriff Dana Cole's voice crossed the gravel before the excavator operator could look to Lydia Mercer for permission. The diesel coughed, then died. Dust settled over Marcus Hale's boots and the cedar boards. Lydia stepped forward with a plastic folder against her chest. "Sheriff, this is a private compliance matter. We have authorization." Dana did not take it. "From whom?" "The association board." "That wasn't my question." Grant Holloway moved beside her, chewing fast. Stonegate Ridge approved an emergency access corridor. The owner was notified. Marcus stood 3 yards away, one hand on his leather folder. The suspended bucket cast a shadow over the post carved with his father's initials. Deputy Thomas Reed crouched beside an orange ribbon and cleared dirt from a brass marker. "Sheriff, this plate says Parcel 18-4, 42-C. Grant answered at once. "The order uses the development tract number." Thomas checked his tablet. "The order says 18-442-G. Hector Ruiz looked from the machine to Marcus. "Mr. Hale, is this your fence?" "Yes." Lydia gave a thin laugh. "He's the caretaker. We've asked him to contact the actual owner." Marcus's thumb stopped against the folder clasp. Donna faced him. "Are you the recorded owner?" "First ask where their authority ends." "Don't indulge this," Lydia said. "Every minute costs the association money." Sarah Mills stood near the road with her phone raised. 2 residents behind Lydia lowered their eyes when Marcus noticed them. Donna took the removal order from Grant. "Who prepared the map?" "Our management office." "Who verified it with the county?" "Our council reviewed it." "That isn't an answer." Hector climbed from the cab. Gravel cracked under his boots. "I asked for the owner's signature yesterday. Mr. Holloway said the board's signature replaced it." Lydia turned. "You were hired to perform a job." "I was hired to remove a fence on association land." Hector pointed at the marker. "That plate says I'm somewhere else." Dana opened Lydia's folder. It held meeting minutes, invoices, and a color map with a red strip along the western boundary. She flipped through it twice. "Where's the certified survey?" Grant reached toward the folder. "It should be behind the resolution." "It isn't." Marcus looked at the carved initials. One corner of the post had splintered where the bucket had brushed it. Thomas stepped close to Dana. "Dispatch confirms Parcel C belongs to Hale Family Land Trust. No association covenant is attached." Lydia kept her chin high, but her fingers bent the plastic sleeve. "Then the database is outdated." Marcus unfastened the leather clasp. Donna raised one palm. "Nobody touches that fence. Nobody leaves with documents. Mr. Holloway, call your attorney. Ms. Mercer, you'll explain why your board ordered work on land it does not control." An orange ribbon tore free and caught beneath Dana's cruiser. Marcus opened the folder just enough for the raised county seal to catch the sun. 36 hours earlier, that same folder had been beneath the passenger seat of his truck while he replaced a cedar rail alone, unaware that a white SUV had just turned onto his road. At 7:12 a.m., Marcus Hale pressed a fresh cedar rail into place and heard the knock travel down the fence line. Cold October air slipped beneath his faded jacket. Mist rested over 40 acres his family had held for 3 generations. "Still using Dad's old hand plane?" Nia called from the gate. His 25-year-old daughter crossed the gravel with a rolled plan under one arm. "It still cuts straight," Marcus said. "It also weighs as much as an engine block." He set it beside Isaiah's scratched brass compass. Marcus turned the board and brushed sawdust from initials carved inside. I.H. Nia saw them. "You found another." He marked every corner he replaced. She spread her plan across the truck hood. "I came about the tax notice. You came because your grandmother called. She said you stopped answering. I was working. She said that last week, too." A crow lifted from the pasture. Marcus drove a screw until the cedar pulled tight. "The North Meadow could cover the taxes," Nia said. "You'd keep the house and workshop. Just 10 acres. "No." "You didn't look at the numbers." "I know them." "Why does keeping every inch matter more than sleeping?" Marcus closed the compass. The click sounded too sharp. "Dad, I'm not asking you to erase him. He asked me to keep it whole. He asked you in a hospital room. He knew what he was asking." A truck passed, tires hissing over damp asphalt. Nia rolled the plan until the paper creased. "You think selling one field means you failed him." Marcus lifted the next rail. "Promises get smaller every time they become inconvenient." She stopped arguing. At 8:03, they carried 2 warped boards into the workshop. Cut cedar mixed with old motor oil. Nia set her end down and rubbed her palms on her jeans. "Coffee?" "Thermos. You make it too strong. You always drink it." She took the cup, turned the handle toward him, and gave it back. His shoulders eased. An engine slowed outside. A white SUV rolled past the gate. It crawled along the western fence, stopped near the ditch, then moved again. "You know them?" Nia asked. "Stonegate Ridge." "The subdivision?" Marcus nodded. A woman in a cream coat raised a phone while a man beside her pointed at a tablet. "Maybe they're checking the ditch." "They've never checked it from inside a car." The SUV stopped at the corner marker and reversed 6 feet. Marcus walked to the gate. Gravel shifted beneath his boots. The passenger window lowered. The man called, "Are you the caretaker?" Marcus rested one hand on the latch. "Who's asking?" "Grant Holloway, Stonegate Compliance." The woman leaned across him. "We need the owner's contact information." "You're looking at him." Her smile stayed fixed, but her eyes moved from the black landowner's worn jacket to his truck's peeling paint. "We'll return with the proper notice," she said. "For what?" She photographed the fence post. "You'll see." The SUV pulled away, exhaust hanging in the cold air. Nia joined him. "That didn't sound like a ditch inspection." Fresh tire tracks ended beside Isaiah's western marker. Marcus reached for the compass, but before he opened it, a folded white paper slid loose from beneath the gate chain. Marcus caught the folded paper before the wind pushed it beneath the truck. Nia watched him tear the tape. "They left that without knocking?" "They wanted proof it reached the gate." The page carried a blue Stonegate Ridge seal and a bold heading, "Notice of required fence removal." 48 hours. Emergency access obstruction. Nia read over his shoulder. "They can't order this." Marcus traced the parcel line. The address was correct. The number was not. 18442G. Hours ends in C. At 9:26, the white SUV returned. Lydia Mercer stepped out. Grant followed with a tablet. Lydia offered a second copy. "I'm glad the groundskeeper is still here." Marcus did not take it. "You left one." "That was a courtesy." This is formal service. To whom? The property owner. You spoke to him 10 minutes ago. Grant looked at Nia. Perhaps you can give us the owner's number. My name is Marcus Hale, Marcus said. I own this land. Lydia's eyes moved over his faded jacket, mud-dark boots, and peeling truck. Stonegate adopted a safety resolution. Your fence blocks an evacuation route. Across whose property? Grant turned the tablet toward him. A red strip cut through the western field. The corridor appears on our map. Marcus removed a folded county survey. This one carries a registrar's stamp. Grant did not touch it. We don't review documents at the roadside. You delivered an order at the roadside. Nia stepped closer. So, review it. Lydia's voice cooled. Your father has 48 hours to cooperate. After that, removal costs may be assessed. Marcus opened the survey to the seal. Wind snapped the corners against his knuckles. Your map moves the boundary 31 feet east. Your notice names Parcel G. This is Parcel C. Grant's chewing slowed. The tract number covers adjoining service areas. Show me the recorded easement. Our counsel has it. Then bring it. Lydia's smile vanished. Stonegate acts before small problems become dangerous. A deteriorating fence and an uncooperative caretaker cannot delay emergency planning. Only seed pods clicked in the ditch. Nia glanced at the initials carved into the gatepost. You keep calling him that after he told you who he is. A delivery van slowed. The driver looked toward them, then continued. I'm calling him what his appearance and conduct suggest, Lydia said. Marcus folded the survey along its old crease. Put your objection in writing, Grant said. The compliance committee meets tonight. I'll be there. Residents speak for 3 minutes. That will be enough. Lydia clipped the notice to the gate chain. 6 p.m. Bring the actual deed. Marcus looked at the clean folder under her arm. Bring the authority you used to sign this. Grant opened the SUV door. Failure to attend won't delay enforcement. They drove away, leaving exhaust in the cold air. Nia pulled the notice free. One corner dragged through wet soil, staining the parcel number brown. Marcus placed it beside the certified survey on the truck hood. One carried mud. The other carried a seal. At the bottom, beneath Lydia's signature, a smaller line read, Contractor access authorized immediately. At 5:54 p.m., Marcus entered the Stonegate clubhouse with the leather folder beneath his arm. Warm air smelled of coffee and carpet cleaner. Rain tapped the windows while residents filled chairs facing a raised table. A volunteer pointed behind blue tape. Non-members sit there. He owns the land under discussion, Nia said. Lydia Mercer looked up. Then he may use public comment. Marcus took the last row. Ruth Bennett, 68, a retired county registrar's secretary, moved her handbag aside. You're Isaiah's son, she whispered. Marcus. I know. Your father filed every receipt twice. At 6, Grant Holloway dimmed the lights. A map appeared on the wall, showing Stonegate Ridge in green and a red corridor crossing Marcus's western field. We need a secondary emergency exit, Grant said. The fence creates an unacceptable obstruction. A resident raised his hand. Does Stonegate own that strip? Our planning records recognize it as a service area. Marcus opened his certified survey. Ruth leaned closer. That line wasn't on the county map, she said. Owen Price, the HOA's 49-year-old attorney, sat beside Lydia in a navy suit, rubbing a cracked leather watch band. The board is relying on professional management records. Filed where? Ruth asked. Lydia tapped her gavel. Questions come later. Grant clicked to photographs of the cedar fence. Removal begins tomorrow. Nia stood. The notice gives 48 hours. Please sit down. You delivered it this morning. You are not recognized, Ms. Hale. A paper cup rolled beneath a chair and stopped against Marcus's boot. At 6:31, Lydia called public comment. Marcus walked down the aisle. Name and address, she said. Marcus Hale, 214 Briar County Road. 3 minutes. He placed the survey on the lectern. The fence stands on parcel 18-442-C. Your notice names parcel 18-442-G. Grant leaned toward his microphone. The development tract includes connected service zones. Show the recorded easement. We've explained. Let him finish, Ruth called. Several heads turned. Lydia's mouth tightened. Marcus held up the page. This survey was recorded in 1998 and reaffirmed in 2017. The western boundary is the drainage ditch. Stonegate's authority ends there. Owen rose halfway. Boundary disputes require formal review. That's why I brought the county seal. Marcus slid the page toward Lydia. She did not touch it. The red light on his microphone glowed. The parcel number is 18442. The light went dark. His final letter vanished into the ventilation hum. Nia stared at Lydia's finger beside the control panel. You turned him off. His time expired. The wall clock showed 6:33. Ruth stood slowly. No, it didn't. Lydia struck the gavel. Public comment is concluded. Marcus folded the survey along its old crease. Residents studied their laps. One man cleaned lenses already clear. Outside, the rain was colder. Nia followed Marcus through the door. You had another minute. He heard the number. Who? Marcus looked through the wet glass. Inside, Owen had taken the red corridor map from Grant and was examining its bottom corner. Grant noticed Marcus watching and pulled the map away. At 7:08 the next morning, Marcus found the first orange ribbon tied to the western fence. By the far corner, there were 23. The wind snapped them against the cedar. Wheel tracks cut through wet grass, and a line ran 10 feet inside his property. Nia crouched beside a brass boundary plate. They came back after the meeting. Before sunrise, Marcus touched the nearest ribbon. Bright plastic brushed the dark metal stamped 18-442-C. A utility truck rolled through the gate. Hector Ruiz stepped out with a clipboard. Mr. Hale, I told my crew not to unload. Wire the stakes inside my line. The work order marks a 6-meter corridor from the fence inward. Nia raised her phone. Who gave you that measurement? Mr. Holloway's office. Marcus held out his hand. Show me. Hector passed him a photocopy smelling of damp cardboard. A red strip had been drawn over a faded parcel map. This line wasn't printed with the rest, Marcus said. I noticed after I saw the marker. A white sedan stopped on the shoulder. Grant got out before the door fully closed. Why isn't the equipment moving? Hector folded his arms. The owner's disputing the boundary. The board already resolved that. Marcus lifted the order. This authorizes removal on parcel G. It's an administrative reference. This is parcel C. It's the same service zone. Then show the recorded easement. Grant noticed Nia's phone. Stop recording private contractor discussions. We're on our land, she said. Your father is obstructing an emergency project. Marcus pointed to the plate. Read it. Grant did not look down. Hector did. I'm not crossing that marker without a signed owner release. You have the board's signature. The board doesn't own the ground. The heater fan hummed. Behind the barn, loose tin knocked twice. Grant lowered his voice. Hector, your company bid on 3 more Stonegate projects, and this one could cost me my license. Ruth Bennett arrived with a camera and a paper envelope. I brought the county index page, she said. I photographed every ribbon from the road. Grant's jaw shifted. This is harassment. Ruth pointed beside the marker. That ribbon is 31 feet beyond your association. Marcus handed her the order. She adjusted her glasses. No surveyor's certification. Grant reached for the page. Marcus folded it and kept it. You'll receive a clean copy through counsel, Grant said. I already have this one. Hector looked at Grant. Did your office add that red line? The board approved the route. That wasn't my question. Nia's phone caught the pause. Grant turned toward the road. The crew returns at dawn. If you block access, we'll document interference. Marcus untied one ribbon and placed it in the leather folder. Hector climbed into his truck. Mr. Hale, I'll email you the original work packet. Grant stopped. You signed a confidentiality clause. I signed for construction terms, not bad maps. The wind rose. One orange ribbon tore free, crossed the ditch, and wrapped around the gate chain. Beneath it, a fresh staple mark showed someone had prepared the post for another notice. At 4:18 p.m., a new notice hung beneath the Stonegate seal. Marcus read it once, then handed it to Nia. Removal begins at 6 tomorrow morning. That's not 48 hours. They accelerated it for public safety. A second page listed demolition costs against the owner. Lydia had authorized contractor access. Nia's thumb shook against the paper. They're billing you for taking down your own fence. 3 cars turned into the lane. Lydia stepped out in a cream coat, followed by Grant, Owen Price, and several residents. Sarah Mills came last, filming. Lydia stopped beside Isaiah's gate post. We're documenting final notice. You documented it when you stapled it here, Marcus said. Families deserve to know why their emergency route is delayed. Grant faced the residents. The caretaker has rejected every accommodation. Nia moved forward. He told you his name. He showed you the deed. Owen rubbed his cracked watch band. Ownership is part of the dispute. Not at the county, Marcus said. Only in your meeting room. Lydia held up the order, showing the heading but hiding the parcel number. This fence blocks access and threatens every home behind us. An older man in a green cap looked at the ditch. A fire engine couldn't cross there. The route will be graded later, Grant said. Sarah's phone shifted toward him. Lydia noticed. Stop filming private residents. I'm filming the board. Marcus unlocked his phone. A red timer began climbing. Call the actual owner, Lydia said. We have no more time for a groundskeeper performing legal theater. No one answered. A van slowed near the mailbox. 2 residents stared at the road. One woman crushed a paper cup between both hands. Marcus stepped beside the post. You've been told who owns this land. Then prove you can act like it. Nia drew breath, but Marcus lifted one finger without turning. She stopped. He photographed the notice, Lydia's signature, the staple, and the witnesses. Then he removed the county survey from his folder. Read the seal. Grant laughed. We're past roadside paperwork. Marcus offered the survey to Owen. The attorney studied the seal, then looked at Lydia. I recommend postponing work until I verify the legal description. You reviewed it, Lydia said. I reviewed what Grant provided. That isn't what you told the board. It's what I'm telling you now. Shoes scraped over gravel. Sarah whispered. I recorded that. Grant stepped between Owen and the document. The contractor is scheduled. Then unschedule him, Owen said. Lydia tore down the notice and pressed it flat against the cedar. The removal proceeds. If Mr. Hale interferes, the sheriff can decide who is obstructing whom. She drove a fresh staple through the paper. The metal clicked directly above Isaiah's carved initials. Marcus's fingers closed around the brass compass in his pocket. He said nothing. When the cars left, Sarah remained by the road. "I should have spoken last night." Marcus looked at the puncture in the old wood. "Speak when it matters." Her screen held a frozen image of Lydia calling him a caretaker. Across the ditch, Grant raised his phone. "6 sharp," he said. "Bring the machine." At 5:47 a.m., headlights swept across the western field. Marcus was already there, standing behind a line of white survey stakes set 10 feet from the fence. Nia held a thermos in one hand and her phone in the other. The air smelled of wet cedar and diesel. Hector Ruiz climbed from the lead truck. "I told them I needed written confirmation." Grant stepped out of a white sedan behind him. "You have it. You have a board resolution. That's pressure, not confirmation." 2 workers unloaded pry bars. Marcus raised his phone. Grant pointed at him. "If you cross that line, I'll report interference." Marcus looked at the stakes. "I placed the line for you." Grant frowned. "For me?" "So no one can say I approached the crew," Nia whispered. "He wants you on camera." "I know." At 6:02, Lydia arrived with Owen Price and 3 residents. Sarah stood by the ditch, recording beside her car. Lydia lifted a paper. "Proceed with the first section." Owen kept his hands in his coat pockets. "I advise delay." And the board declined. Hector looked at Marcus. "I'm starting near the road. If the county stops us, we stop." Marcus nodded. "Do not remove the brass marker." Grant said, "You don't direct this site. The marker is county property." A drill whined. The first bolt spun loose. Nia flinched. "Dad, call again." Marcus dialed the county line and put the phone on speaker. "Bryan County Dispatch," a woman answered. "This is Marcus Hale at 214 Bryan County Road. A contractor is removing a fence on parcel 18-442-C without owner consent." "Is anyone threatening you?" "No." "Is there a court order?" "Not yet." "Then deputies may treat this as a civil boundary dispute, unless there is trespass after a confirmed warning or a disturbance." They were warned in writing. Grant called across the grass. "Tell her we have authorization." Marcus did not look at him. "Can you send a unit to verify the parcel?" "I can log the request, sir. Current response priority is low." The drill stopped. For 1 second, the field held only wind and the ticking engine. Then the cedar panel came free. Sarah lowered her phone. One resident stared at his shoes. Another folded his arms and backed toward Lydia's car. Nia said, "You all know this is wrong." No one answered. Hector motioned to the crew. "Slowly. Watch the post." A worker pulled at the western support. The wood resisted, groaned, then cracked below the staple scar. Marcus took 1 step forward and stopped at his own white stake. The carved post fell face first into the dust. The initials disappeared. Dust settled into the fresh break like gray flour. Nia's breath caught. "That was Grandpa's." Lydia glanced at the phones. "It's an old fence post." Marcus ended the call. He walked to the edge of the line but did not cross it. "Hector." The foreman removed his gloves. "I'm sorry." "Leave it where it fell." Grant laughed without humor. "For evidence?" "For memory." A second truck turned onto the road, carrying the excavator. Its bucket rose above the cab as it approached the gate, and beneath the fallen post, Marcus saw a strip of fresh red paint on the soil that had not been there the night before. By 8:41 p.m., the broken cedar post lay across Marcus's workbench. Dust clung to the carved initials. Under the lamp, the fresh split looked pale against the dark grain, and red paint marked the lower edge. Nia stood in the doorway with 2 paper cups. "You didn't answer." "I heard the phone." "That isn't the same thing." She set 1 cup beside him. The workshop smelled of sawdust, metal, and bitter coffee. Outside, wind pushed loose tin against the barn. Marcus turned the brass compass in his palm. The needle trembled, then settled north. "I called the civil clerk," Nia said. "Judge Forrest can hear an emergency petition at 9. The excavator returns at 6. Then we stand there again. "And give Grant another recording of us interfering?" Nia pulled out the stool. "You stood behind your own stakes while they tore down Grandpa's post." Marcus looked at the initials. His phone rang. Owen Price's name filled the screen. Marcus answered on speaker. "Counselor." "The board is offering a temporary compromise," Owen said. "They remove the fence, grade the corridor, and preserve your right to challenge ownership later. You call that preservation? I'm trying to stop this from becoming worse. It already crossed my boundary. Lydia believes the route protects Stonegate." "Do you?" Paper shifted on Owen's end. "I believe Grant's map is incomplete." "Then say that in writing." "I can't make accusations without verification." "You watch them ignore verification." Owen lowered his voice. "If you refuse tonight, the board will claim you rejected mitigation." Marcus pressed his thumb into the compass lid. "Send the offer." Nia stared after the call ended. "You're considering it." "I'm considering what remains if they finish before court." "You promised Grandpa." "I promised to keep the land. The fence is part of it." "The fence can be rebuilt." Her eyes moved to the broken post. "That one can't." The lamp flickered. For a moment, only the compass face caught the light. Marcus opened Owen's email. The agreement allowed Stonegate to remove the western fence and enter the property without admission of liability. "They want permission after doing it," Nia said. "They want a clean record." "So don't give them one." Marcus set the phone down. "You thought keeping every acre was stubbornness." "I did." "And now?" She ran one finger over the red paint. It came away bright. "Now I think they marked where they wanted the truth to be." Nia lifted the post. Beneath the smear was a shallow stamped number, nearly hidden by dirt. "That isn't Grandpa's mark." Marcus cleaned it with a rag. The number read G-18. "The wrong parcel," Nia said. He opened the leather folder and compared it with Lydia's notice, 18-442-G. At 10:17, Marcus called Judge Forrest's after-hours clerk. "I need the earliest hearing available." "The docket opens at 9. "Can the contractor be told a petition is pending?" "Not without a signed order." Nia opened her laptop. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Finding out where Parcel G actually is." Marcus closed the unsigned agreement. On Nia's screen, the county map loaded. The red-marked parcel appeared 2 miles from their fence. At 10:23 p.m., Nia enlarged the county map until the field boundaries filled the laptop. "Parcel G is here," she said, tapping a strip beside a quarry road. 2 miles east. Marcus placed Lydia's notice beside the keyboard. The number sat beneath her signature. "They copied a real parcel," Nia said, "just not yours. Or someone needed a number that looked real." The workshop lamp buzzed. Cold air carried wet leaves through the doorframe. Isaiah's broken post lay beneath a cloth. Marcus called Hector. "I was about to email you," the foreman said. "Send the first packet, not the revised one." A pause. "Grant said there was only one." "Was there?" "No." The files arrived. The original showed Stonegate's limit at the western ditch. The second added a red corridor 31 feet into Hale land. Nia layered the images. Every road and boundary matched. Only the red strip moved. Someone drew it in. Faint initials sat beneath the line. G.H. Marcus's phone vibrated. Ruth Bennett had sent a photograph of a 2003 agreement. "I found it in my old index notes," she said. "Stonegate can clear debris from the roadside ditch. Nothing beyond the center channel." "Any emergency route?" "Not a word. It says no fence may be disturbed." "Can you testify?" Nia asked. "I can bring the certified copy." At 7:40 the next morning, they entered the county records office. Jason Park, 31, met them at the mapping counter. He wore square glasses and aligned the pens beside his keyboard. "Show me both maps." Jason projected them onto a monitor and lowered the newer image's opacity. The maps merged into one gray grid. The hand-drawn corridor stayed bright red. "That line is not in the county layer. Could it be an update?" Nia asked. "Updates carry a revision code, seal, and timestamp. This has none." He opened the parcel history. Stonegate has never owned Parcel C. Parcel G went to the county after tax foreclosure in 2014. It creates no rights here. Marcus connected an encrypted token from his wallet to the terminal. Nia watched the screen. "What is that?" "My professional certificate." The screen displayed Marcus Hale, former special counsel, State Land Integrity Unit. She stared. "You were a state lawyer?" "For land fraud cases." "You told me you worked in records." "I did." "You investigated this?" "Cases that started with one convenient line." Jason's hands stopped moving. Marcus signed the discrepancy report. A gold verification seal appeared beneath his name. "Why didn't you tell the board?" Nia asked. "People reveal more when they think you have no power." At 8:12, Hector entered with the original work order. Ruth followed with a certified agreement in a blue envelope. Hector placed his copy beside the map. Grant emailed this at 11:48 p.m. before the ribbons appeared. Jason zoomed in. The red corridor and Grant's initials were clear. Ruth touched the envelope. Their authority ended in the ditch. Marcus gathered the documents into his leather folder. "Judge Forrest takes emergency filings at 9, Jason said. "This can freeze the work." Outside the glass doors, a utility truck rolled into the lot. Grant Holloway stepped out, saw them at the counter, and reached for his phone. Grant stopped beside the utility truck and lifted his phone. "Lydia, they found the records office." Judge Elaine Forrest's clerk accepted the petition. "The judge can review it at 8:45, she said. "Until she signs, there is no order." Judge Forrest studied the county map, Grant's revised copy, and the contractor order. "Who added this corridor?" Hector pointed to the initials. "Grant Holloway." "Was the owner's consent requested?" "I asked. He said the board's approval replaced it." "Why did work begin?" the judge asked Marcus. "Dispatch called it civil. The board used the delay." At 8:52, she signed the restraint. No demolition, grading, or entry beyond the ditch. Marcus folded the warm order into his leather folder. At 9:07, they reached Briar County Road. The excavator was inside the gate, its bucket raised over the cedar boards. Lydia addressed residents as if opening a public project. Grant blocked Marcus's truck. "You're too late." Marcus stepped out. "Move the equipment." "You don't direct this site." Hector came around the hood. "I do. Shut it down." The operator hesitated. Lydia cut one hand towards the fence. "Proceed." Nia raised her phone. Across the ditch, Sarah's screen was already glowing. Grant pointed at Marcus. "He's obstructing an authorized project." Marcus opened the folder. "The authorization has been restrained." Lydia laughed. "By whom?" Sheriff Dana Cole's cruiser rolled through the dust, followed by Deputy Thomas Reed. Donna stepped out before the wheels stopped. "Kill the engine." The diesel coughed, then died. Orange ribbons snapped in the sudden quiet. Lydia pressed her plastic folder to her chest. "Sheriff, this is a private compliance matter." Donna held out her hand. "Who authorized entry onto this parcel?" "The association board." "That wasn't my question." Thomas crouched beside the brass marker. "Parcel 18-442-C. Grant answered quickly. "The order uses the development tract number." Thomas checked his tablet. "The order says G." Hector removed his gloves. "I asked for the owner's signature. Mr. Holloway said the board's signature replaced it." Lydia turned on him. "You were hired to perform a job. On association land. This isn't." Donna opened Lydia's folder. Meeting minutes. An invoice. The altered map. "Where is the certified survey?" "It should be behind the resolution," Grant said. "It isn't." Thomas stepped beside her. "Dispatch confirms Parcel C belongs to Hale Family Land Trust. No covenant. No easement past the ditch." Lydia's fingers bent the clear sleeve. "Then the database is outdated." Ruth hurried from her car, blue envelope in hand. "I filed the original index myself." Donna raised one palm. "Nobody touches that fence. Nobody leaves with documents." The bucket remained above Isaiah's scarred post. Marcus unfastened his leather clasp. The judge's seal caught the sun. Beneath it lay the certified survey and his former state credentials. Donna read the first page, then faced Lydia. "This association does not control 1 foot beyond that ditch." Grant's jaw went still. Lydia stared at the credential under Marcus's name, and for the first time she called him Mr. Hale. At 10:26 a.m., Marcus sat beneath the county seal in a room smelling of copier heat and cold coffee. Inspector Camilla Grant entered with 3 gray folders. Her silver-streaked hair was cut close. She tapped each page twice before sitting. "This interview is recorded. State your name and occupation." "Marcus Hale, landowner." She glanced at the copied credential. "Former occupation?" "Special counsel, State Land Integrity Unit." Lydia shifted. Grant's gum stopped moving. "Why didn't you disclose that at the HOA meeting?" Camilla asked. "I disclosed the parcel number." "That was enough to stop lawful people." Sarah Mills placed her phone on the table. "I have the full meeting video and the gate confrontation." Owen Price rubbed his cracked watchband. "Was everyone aware they were being recorded?" "It was an open meeting," Sarah said. At the gate, the board was addressing residents. Camilla connected the phone to the wall screen. Lydia appeared beside the cedar post, calling Marcus a caretaker. Then the red microphone light died mid-number. On screen, Lydia's finger rested beside the control panel. Camilla froze the image. Did his 3 minutes expire? The clock read 6:33. Ruth adjusted her glasses. He began at 6:31. Lydia's lips parted. The agenda was running over. You cut off the legal description. I enforced procedure. 2 minutes early. Hector slid the original work order across the table. The paper smelled damp. This is what my office received first, he said. The ditch was the boundary. He set the revised copy beside it. This arrived at 11:48 p.m. The red corridor had been added. Camilla looked at Grant. Your initials? He leaned back. The chair wheels squeaked. They indicate internal review. Did you draw the line? I updated the route in our planning materials. Based on what recorded document? Grant's jaw moved once. No gum moved. Jason Park turned his laptop toward them. The county layer has no corridor, easement, or matching revision. Parcel C has never belonged to Stonegate Ridge. Owen looked at Lydia. I asked for verification. You said the map was sufficient, she replied. For discussion, not entry. Camilla opened another folder. The contractor crossed the ditch, removed a section, and returned with heavy equipment. Who authorized entry? Lydia looked at Grant. Grant looked at Owen. Owen looked down at his watch band. Marcus folded his hands. Camilla noticed. You documented instead of physically blocking the crew. Yes. Why? Because the first false claim was about the land. The second would have been about me. Sarah lowered her eyes. Behind them, the frozen image still showed Lydia silencing his microphone. Camilla closed the folder. Your restraint wasn't confusion. Marcus said nothing. It preserved the evidence. Lydia stared at the screen as if seeing the room for the first time. Outside, a printer began feeding pages into its tray. Camilla gathered the copies. Next, we determine whether this was negligence, unauthorized alteration, or deliberate misrepresentation. She lifted the revised map by one corner. The red line ran through Marcus's field and ended beneath Grant Holloway's initials. At 2:14 p.m., Arthur Bell entered the county hearing room with a yellow legal pad. The 62-year-old independent mediator aligned every document with the table's edge before speaking. This is not a trial, he said, but every answer is on the record. Grant Holloway sat beside Lydia, chewing mint gum hard enough to move his jaw. Owen Price held his cracked watchband. Arthur nodded to the screen. Inspector Grant, show us both maps. Camilla layered the county record over Stonegate's presentation. Roads, lots, and the ditch merged perfectly. Only one red corridor remained, cutting 31 feet into Hale land. Mr. Holloway, when was that line added? During emergency planning. That answers why. After the board discussed a secondary exit. Before or after Mr. Hale objected. Grant's chewing stopped. Camilla enlarged the corner. The initials GH appeared beneath the line. Lydia turned. You said it came from the development file. It came from our planning materials. Which you prepared, Owen said. Grant lifted his water. I clarified an intended route. Arthur faced Owen. What did you verify? The resolution, meeting packet, and management map. Did you compare the legal description with county records? No. Did you imply that you had? Owen rubbed the split leather. I said I reviewed the materials. I should have been more precise. Ruth Bennett opened a blue envelope. May I read from the September minutes? Acquiring West Side access is expected to improve emergency ratings, trail connectivity, and resale values for homes in phases 3 and 4. Lydia leaned toward her microphone. That was general discussion. Safety remained the priority. Ruth turned a page. President Mercer stated that the Hale tract appeared underused and that resistance from the caretaker should not prevent community progress. Sarah lowered her eyes. Arthur asked, Did you know Mr. Hale owned the property when you authorized removal? He claimed he did. He presented a certified survey. The board had conflicting information. No, Camilla said. The board had official information and an altered map. Lydia pressed her palm flat. I relied on Grant and counsel. Grant leaned toward her. You told us to make the route happen before the winter inspection. Owen pulled his chair back. Do not involve me in that instruction. You were there. I advised verification. After the contract was signed, Hector said. He turned to Marcus. What outcome are you asking for? Restore the fence. Publish the record. Stop the board from entering land it does not own. No personal damages? Those can be decided elsewhere. Lydia looked at him. You could have told us who you were. Marcus's voice stayed low. I told you whose land it was. Camilla placed the altered map, contractor order, and minutes before Arthur. They show the board moved from error to action after receiving contrary evidence. Arthur removed his glasses. Tomorrow we address sanctions, restoration, and referral to licensing authorities. Grant reached for another piece of gum, found the wrapper empty, and folded it smaller beneath the table. At 9:06 the next morning, the hearing room doors opened before Lydia Mercer arrived. Marcus sat beside Nia with the broken cedar fragment inside his leather folder. Across the aisle, Hector Ruiz removed his cap. Sarah Mills held a paper cup gone cold. Arthur Bell entered with Inspector Camilla Grant and a clerk carrying 3 sealed envelopes. The notices issued by Stonegate Ridge are void, Arthur said. The association has no authority over parcel 18-442-C. Work beyond the ditch is prohibited. The fence must be restored by a contractor approved by the owner at Stonegate's expense. A chair creaked behind Lydia. Grant Holloway leaned toward Owen Price. Can they do that without a trial? Owen kept his eyes forward. They just did. The clerk passed Lydia the first envelope. Her fingernail caught beneath the seal twice. Pending review, Arthur continued. Ms. Mercer is removed from property access decisions. Mr. Holloway's conduct will be referred to the State Licensing Division. Grant's jaw tightened. I followed a board directive. You altered a map after contrary records were presented, Camilla said. I clarified a route. You moved a boundary. The ventilation clicked off. Sarah set her cup on the floor. Arthur faced Owen. Your review is being forwarded to professional standards. That is not a finding. It is a review. Owen rubbed the split watchband once, then stopped. Lydia stood. This community needed a second exit. Every decision I made was for the residents. Ruth Bennett lifted the blue envelope. Then, why did the minutes mention resale values before safety? Lydia looked toward the residents. No one met her eyes. Sit down, Ms. Mercer, Arthur said. She did. He turned to Marcus. Stonegate has proposed a confidential settlement covering restoration and legal expenses. Owen slid a document across the table. The terms are standard. Marcus read both pages. Nia watched his thumb stop over one paragraph. What is it? She whispered. No public release of the audit. Owen folded his hands. Confidentiality protects all parties. Marcus pushed the document back. Not this time. Lydia stared at him. You want to embarrass us. I want the record available to the next owner who is told a false map is authority. Arthur studied him. Rejecting confidentiality may delay payment. Yes? Nia moved her chair closer. Camilla placed a report on the table. The county can publish findings regardless of a private settlement. Then publish them, Marcus said. Outside, camera shutters clicked. When the hearing adjourned, Hector approached Marcus. I'll rebuild the fence. You'll be paid. I was there when the first post fell. Marcus lifted the cedar fragment. One edge was pale where it had split. Use new wood around this piece. Hector nodded. Leave the scar visible? Yes. At the corridor's end, Lydia handed her board badge to the clerk. Grant stood beside the elevator, pressing the call button after the light had turned on. Marcus did not watch them leave. He slid the cedar fragment beside the county order and stepped toward the waiting residents, where one question moved through the crowd. How many other maps had never been checked? At 8:30 a.m. Monday, Marcus stood before the Bryan County Land Committee with a white form in his hand. David Kent, 55, adjusted his hearing aid and read the bold field at the top. Certified parcel number. That comes first, Marcus said. Monica Wells, Stonegate Ridge's temporary president, sat nearby, her yellow pencil aligned with the notebook. David looked over the room. Explain the rest. No association hires a contractor, posts a removal order, or requests enforcement until the parcel number, legal boundary, and owner consent are verified against county records. A contractor in back raised his hand. What if the board says it's urgent? Then urgency gets documented, Sheriff Dana Cole said. It does not replace ownership. The projector clicked. Jason Park displayed a map showing Stonegate's boundary ending at the drainage ditch. Fluorescent lights hummed above pale blue lines. Monica leaned toward her microphone. Some residents say this will make emergency planning impossible. Marcus turned the form toward her. It makes guessing impossible. David tapped another box. Contractor stop authority? Hector Ruiz stood. My crew can pause work when records conflict without losing the contract or paying a penalty. Several contractors murmured. Dana opened a thin binder. Dispatch procedure changes too. Boundary complaints with active work orders will be flagged for document review before the owner is treated as the disturbance. Sarah Mills lowered her pen. Ruth whispered, That should have existed years ago. It exists now, Sarah said. At noon, the committee moved downstairs. HOA members sat at folding tables with sample deeds, survey maps, and copies of the published audit. Monica studied the altered red corridor on page 1. I voted for that resolution, she said quietly. You also voted for the audit, Marcus replied. That doesn't erase the first vote. No. She waited for comfort. Marcus slid the verification form across the table and turned a paper cup's handle toward her. Start with the number. Across the room, Dana ran a scenario for deputies. Hector explained brass markers. Jason showed how one letter moved the legal location by 2 miles. Then Sarah's video played. Lydia's finger touched the microphone control. Marcus's voice cut off before the final letter. No one spoke until the ventilation fan started again. Monica closed her eyes, then wrote beneath the timestamp, Never silence the legal description. By 4:17 p.m., the committee voted unanimously. The rule would apply countywide. Stonegate accepted annual boundary training, an independent compliance review, and a public page listing every registered easement. Outside, cold sunlight stretched across the courthouse steps. David handed Marcus the approved form. You built this from one wrong letter. Marcus folded it once. One ignored letter. Nia waited beside the truck with Isaiah's brass compass in her palm. Hector called, she said. The new cedar arrives tomorrow. Marcus looked toward the western road, where the broken fence opened onto the field. On the approved form, beneath the certified parcel number, someone had added a second required line in black ink. Owner heard before action. The first load of cedar arrived at 7:06 the next morning. Hector's crew stacked the boards by the western field, where frost silvered the grass and each breath showed in the air. No orange ribbons remained. Marcus carried Isaiah's damaged post from the workshop and laid it beside the new lumber. Hector ran a thumb along the split. We can hide this inside a replacement sleeve. Leave the scar visible, Marcus said. The saws started. Their clean whine crossed the pasture with the warm smell of cut wood. Nia measured from the brass county marker, while Jason Park checked the parcel number on his tablet. Across the ditch, 3 Stonegate residents watched in silence. Sarah Mills brought coffee and set one cup near Marcus, the handle turned toward him. By noon, new cedar stood around the old post. The fresh boards were honey-colored. Isaiah's wood remained dark, punctured above the initials where Lydia's staple had gone through. Hector fitted the broken section into the gate. "It won't look untouched," he said. Nia brushed sawdust from the carving. "It shouldn't?" 6 weeks later, the county released its public report. Lydia Mercer had resigned from the Stonegate Board and was barred from compliance work during oversight. Grant Holloway's property management license was suspended pending retraining and restitution review. Stonegate ended his contract. Owen Price received a formal reprimand and mandatory instruction on verification duties. At the public meeting, Monica Wells read every finding aloud. No microphone was cut off. Ruth Bennett sat up front with the blue envelope on her lap, while Sarah's recording entered the county training archive. Sheriff Donna Cole reported that deputies had already used the new parcel review protocol in 4 disputes. 2 contractors had paused work under the stop authority rule without penalty. The county portal now displayed association boundaries, recorded easements, and the office responsible for corrections. Afterward, Lydia waited near the exit, holding the report against a gray sweater. "I should have read the seal," she told Marcus. He gave a small nod. She did not ask him to forgive her. 4 months after the excavator entered the gate, Nia unlocked Isaiah's workshop beneath a new sign, Hale Rural Land Desk. Document review, no fee. The room still smelled faintly of motor oil beneath fresh paint. She had kept the old workbench, repaired the lamp, and covered one wall with simple instructions for finding deeds, surveys, and parcel histories. Ruth volunteered on Tuesdays. Jason held a monthly records clinic. Hector left brass marker flags by the door. Sarah organized the first community session and placed the county's verification form at every chair. Their first visitor was Evelyn Moore, 63, a farm owner in a quilted brown coat. She entered holding a swollen folder tied with kitchen string. "They say my lower field belongs to a road district," she said. "I don't know which paper matters." Nia pulled out the chair beside her. Marcus placed Isaiah's brass compass on the desk, not as evidence now, but as a paperweight over a blank parcel form. "We start with the number," he said. Evelyn loosened the string. Outside, evening light moved across all 40 acres. At the gate, new cedar surrounded the old wound, and Isaiah's initials faced home. The compass needle rested still. Have you ever seen a boundary, rule, or official notice used to pressure someone who was never truly heard? Share your experience in the comments, especially if one document, witness, or quiet act of courage changed what happened next. Send this story to someone who believes dignity and justice matter most when power is used carelessly. Stories like Marcus's remind us that calm persistence can protect more than one person. It can change the procedure that failed them. Subscribe for more stories about justice, quiet resilience, and lasting systemic change. Your support helps bring forward stories in which ordinary people defend their rights without losing their humanity.